Pirates of the Caribbean: Curse of the Black Pearl is my all-time favorite film. And the first sight we see here is at Port Royal, where we see a bunch of pirates hanging off from the Hangman's Bay here, and Jack Sparrow's saluting them as he's going past. It says, "Ye pirates, be warned." So hello guys, welcome to my new Pirates of the Caribbean Port Royal mock series. If you guys have not seen the Dauntless, the Black Pearl, and the Interceptor custom Pirates of the Caribbean ship builds, go check those out. I took that to a LEGO convention this year, and this year I'm going to be tackling building Port Royal, but this mock series is going to be a lot different than previous ones. If you guys have been following my channel, I usually do weekly updates and all that, and as you guys can tell, I like using LEGO sets in my builds, but unfortunately Pirates of the Caribbean has really never had any Navy-specific LEGO sets before. So today we're going to be building tons of different sections of this Pirates of the Caribbean Port Royal. There's tons of things I want to build, like the fort, the port area, the Interceptor dock, tons of other town stuff, the blacksmith shop, bridges, tons of it. We're going to be building a lot of stuff in this series, but the first thing we're going to start off here with is Hangman's Bay. You saw a sneak peek of it at the beginning. This is how this mock series is going to be structured. It's going to be one episode per week that's going to be complete in itself. And it's going to be really fun to try to integrate 3 full-scale custom Pirates of the Caribbean ships into these builds scaling-wise. So one of the first things I need to start with was picking out my minifigures. So here are my custom 3 pirates that are on that sign area. I tried to make them kind of different and unique. Again, it's kind of hard to incorporate that into this build, but I definitely don't want this build to feel too small or too crowded, so I started out with the template of what I think I want the water to look like around this, but then I realized it kind of basically fits on a 32 by 32 base plate. Don't worry, none of those studs on the base plate are going to be shown. It is all going to be a custom build on top of it. I think this size is going to be great for this first scene. I'm going to be building chunks like this throughout. They're going to be separate individual mocks by themselves, which is kind of cool. And in the end, it's all going to have a layout that's going to look similar to Port Royal. So let's get into the first building portion now. So I'm starting out with trying to get a foundation of what I want the water to look like. I don't have enough tiles to tile everything for the water, so I'm going to be using multiple different colors of blue and all that. Also some filler plate here as I start building up the kind of mound here on this Hangman's Bay. I'm using this dark tan color because I think if I look back on the reference image, and you guys will see a few of those as we go, that color is the best representation of it. The reddish brown doesn't really look that great as like a structure, like a mound or like mountain hill. So I'm going to be using this dark tan color on both sides. I'm also going to incorporate some ivy color to make this kind of look weathered and all that. And I think the blue and the tan are great contrast colors with each other. I really tried to stay as accurate as I possibly could to the actual source material. That is going to be the key to this mock series, is making it movie accurate. I also have some reference from the LEGO Pirates of the Caribbean game. That's something I really like and took a lot of inspiration from. And as I'm building up these structures, you'll notice that they're kind of random shapes. That's because there's going to be a lot of ivy and other things attached to them. It's meant to look really rough and beat up like it does in the source material. And the second part, guys, actually the time lapse kind of bugged out of me, but you managed to see how I got those mounds built up there. I put a wood looking thing kind of loosely attached on both of those. It's kind of an illegal building technique where you kind of snot it in and then you kind of build plates and jumpers around it. So that's how I managed to get the interesting shape color of that. I also decided to just attach the skeleton heads to the top of it, and I think it looks absolutely great. Having those final plant details on it as well, it's really awesome. And the best thing is that this is viewable 360. There's no like bad side to this, so that's something I'm really proud of. But of course, one of the main things is going to be a problem on this mock. It's just the amount of water that is going to be here. Obviously, this is a giant bay off of the Atlantic, and I believe like Cuba, Port Royal, it is a real place actually, or was, I should say. I don't know if it still was around today. But one of the main things we're going to be doing is kind of translucent, transparent, 1x1 studs to kind of simulate waves going up against the rocky shores. Again, I don't have enough parts to make an entire bay of just blue. I think that's kind of boring anyway. So I'm going to build like kind of silhouette backgrounds and like small things like this that make this build look really high quality and highly detailed. One of my favorite techniques I used here is kind of putting this wood piece on an angle. I know I talked about it a little bit earlier, but it was definitely really challenging to build the mound around it because I didn't want it to look too tall and other than that. And you have to remember, I am scaling this to actual ships, so I'm trying to do that as best as I can. One of the best things I wanted to see was how a rowboat would look like this. Obviously, Jack Sparrow, one of the first things we see in the film is him going past this area, and I think this boat looked actually perfect to scale with this. I think Jack looks awesome with that. I know it's not accurate that he would have oars in the scene, but I think this is pretty cool, and I really love how this looks. I'm definitely super pleased with how this turned out. But if you guys want to see more mocks like this in the future, please subscribe. Every week there's going to be a new Port Royal Pirates of the Caribbean build here. I'm going to try to get as many of them as I can. I want to build as many locations on Port Royal that we see in the first Pirates of the Caribbean and the second film as I possibly can. So hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, drop a like, subscribe if you're new here, and I will see you guys on the next Pirates of the Caribbean building Port Royal.